George Washington said, "The arts and sciences, essential to the prosperity of the state and to the ornament of human life, have a primary claim to the encouragement of every lover of his country and mankind." He's so right. The arts help us express our values, build bridges between cultures, and bring us together regardless of ethnicity, religion, or age. So spend a day walking through the Jackson Sculpture Garden at the Art Center, or the Helen T. White Galleries or Children's Museum. While you're there, eat at Franco's Bistro with some delicious homemade Italian fare. The Art Center has voted Best of Pueblo in 6 categories, including Best Museum for 10 years in a row, and for good reason. Students with an education rich in the arts have higher GPAs and standardized test scores, and lower dropout rates. These benefits are shown regardless of socioeconomic status. Students with 4 years of arts or music in high school average 100 points better on their SAT scores. So, this summer, why don't you take a class? This summer's offerings include pottery, jewelry, wine tasting, and instruments. Do you have kids? Enroll them in a summer camp for a week. More than 1,400 children and adults enrolled in classes and camps at the center in 2016. The nonprofit arts industry alone generates $135 billion in economic activity annually. That supports 4.1 million jobs. The arts and culture sector represents a larger share of the economy than tourism and agriculture combined. So why don't you help the kids in your life solve one of the great masterpiece mysteries during the Children's Museum Summer Exhibit, Art Detectives? It's opening this Sunday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And as a special bonus, it's free admission thanks to our local sponsors. Attendees at arts events spend $24.60 per person per event beyond the cost of admission on items such as parking, meals, shopping, and babysitters. Attendees who live outside the county in which the arts event takes place spends twice as much. That's valuable revenue for local businesses and the community. Did you know the Three Peaks Boutique gift shop in the Helen T. White Galleries sells unique items by local artists? With almost 300 local artists represented, you're sure to find something for Father's Day that we guarantee he doesn't already have. Grab a handmade card for the graduate, or pick up something extra special just for yourself. Arts travelers are ideal tourists, staying longer and spending more to seek out authentic cultural experiences. The U.S. Department of Commerce reports that the percentage of international travelers who include museum trips on their trip has grown steadily and spend an average of $479 per trip more. Sorted and Sacred, The Beggars in Rembrandt's Etchings, opened last week in the White Gallery. See this exhibition of prints dating from the 1600s for yourself. Did you know that over 60% of visitors to the Helen T. White Galleries during last year's Ansel Adams exhibition were from outside of Pueblo County? Creativity is among the top 5 applied skills sought by business leaders. The arts, music, creative writing, drawing, dance, provide skills sought by employers of the third millennium. Nobel laureates in the sciences, even, are 17 times more likely to be actively engaged in the arts than average scientists. So plan to attend Festival Fridays when we turn our Jackson Sculpture Garden into a live outdoor concert venue 5 Fridays in a row, starting July 14th. Or see the new Wall of Wonder mural, which was named one of the 25 best new murals in Colorado in 2016 by the Denver Westward publication. Arts mean business. The arts industry generates $22.3 billion in revenue to local, state, and federal government every year. That's a yield well beyond their $4 billion in arts allocations. After all, the true value of a dollar is how you use it to make the world a better place. So come on down and see Gene Kloss, Gifts from John Armstrong in the King Gallery, now through October 8th. These are part of the Art Center's permanent collection. The Art Center stewards a collection estimated at nearly $10 million in value, and a rotating portion of that collection is on display at the Art Center all year round. Researchers have demonstrated that a high concentration of the arts in a city leads to higher civic engagement, more social cohesion, higher child welfare, and lower poverty rates. A vibrant arts community ensures that young people are not left to be raised solely in a Facebook or tabloid marketplace. Our next free day is this Sunday, June 11th. Basic admission includes entrance to the Children's Museum and Helen T. White Galleries. Admission to the special exhibit, Sorted and Sacred, is half price on those days. Through the generosity of sponsors, nearly 6,000 people visited the Art Center on a free day just last year. The arts improve health. Nearly 1/2 of the nation's healthcare institutions provide arts programming for patients, families, and even staff. 78% deliver these programs because of their healing benefits to patients. They found it results in shorter hospital stays, better pain management, and even less medication. So get ready for school at the Buell Children's Museum in partnership with Pueblo City Schools in District 70 on Thursday, July 27th, with resources for parents, learning activities for children, and admission for just $1. A number of early education programs are offered throughout the year, including preschool camps and Art Start programs. Arts are an export industry. U.S. exports of arts goods like movies, paintings, and jewelry grew to $72 billion in 2011, while imports were just $25 billion. That's a $47 billion arts trade surplus. In 2016, guests visited the Art Center from 48 states and the countries of Canada, England, Ethiopia, France, Germany, Mexico, and Spain, to name a few. So, buy season tickets to our Center Stage series this year, with shows by internationally touring groups, and see what those visitors already know. There's always plenty to do at your local art center.
All right. Good evening. I'm Sarah Rose, and it's my privilege to work as the Chief Operating Officer for the Pueblo City County Library District. A central part of the library's mission is to provide free and open access to all. For people who have a disability, that access can be substantially limited. According to the U.S. Census, nearly 1 out of 5 Americans has some form of disability. This includes visible disabilities we can see, such as mobility limitations and blindness, but it also includes invisible disabilities, such as autism or dyslexia. The library tries to meet a variety of needs by providing downloadable audiobooks, e-readers, a large print collection, access to Colorado State Library's Talking Library, movies with subtitles, Braille books on loan, accessible facilities, and interpreter services. The library also provides training to its employees on ADA and legal compliance, as well as how to assist patrons with the resources that we provide. One of the big challenges is discerning service dogs from pets. To guide our efforts, the library formed an ADA committee headed up by myself to oversee our activities and resources, as well as to network with other organizations in the community who serve people with disabilities. This year, one of the library's annual goals is to revitalize our assistive technologies and look for ways to expand our resources to meet people with disabilities. We began by establishing an assistive technology location on the second floor of the Rawlings Library. You can all visit that before you leave tonight. We also purchased a new computer with an extra large monitor that is dedicated to assistive technology software use. The computer was loaded with current versions of Dragon Naturally Speaking, JAWS, Zoom Text software, and patrons can gain access through staff on the second floor. The computer sits on an adjustable table with wheels that can easily be moved into the adjoining study nook if privacy is desired while using speech recognition software, which tends to be an issue for people using that software. We also have an adjustable chair to make the workstation ergonomically correct. The library has 2 large track balls to accommodate mobility needs. The balls react like a mouse, but with very fine motor skills. And it enables patrons to move just as you would move a cursor. The large white keyboard accommodates mobility, vision impairments, and the board has large 1-inch square keys that provide stability and support for people with unsteady movements. It also allows the user to rest their hands on the keyboard. Dragon Naturally Speaking software accommodates mobility, cognitive, and vision disabilities. This speech recognition software comes with headphones and a microphone. The software can be used to access other software programs with voice commands and performs dictation to write, edit text, and also converts text to speech. JAWS is a computer screen reader program working with Microsoft Windows that allows blind and visually impaired users to read the screen with text-to-speech output or Braille via a printer. The software covers 30 different languages. Zoom Text is a camera magnifier reader software used to accommodate low vision and cognitive disabilities. It magnifies up to 36 times its original size and provides font and color contrast, which is helpful for learning disabilities. We also have 2 print material magnifiers, which are devices that can be used with any book or document in the library. You simply put the item under the magnifier and it appears enlarged on the screen, making it easier to read. The library is also installing Sorensen audio-video relay services on laptops at all of its locations this month. Deaf or mute patrons who use American Sign Language can use this service to make phone calls through an interpreter service, much like a Skype with an interpreter in between. PCCLD is also installing listening devices for our large conference rooms, which will include the Rawlings Library, InfoZone Theater, Pueblo West, Jerry King conference rooms, and those will all be completed by the end of this year. Portable aids are coming soon to the branches as well, which are mini kits for our small branch libraries that include reading rulers, magnifiers, and aids for children with dyslexia or adults. We're also focusing on programming. Currently, the library offers American Sign Language for beginners on Saturdays at 12 p.m. at the Rawlings Library. We also have signing story time at the Pueblo West Library on Mondays at 2 p.m. And I hear that the kids feel like it's a secret language. They really like it. Discoverability kits is another thing that we're going to be putting together this year that address specific disabilities such as autism, that will be little kits you can get at the desk to use in the library at a quiet place. So bridging the gap between people with disabilities and access to information helps build a stronger society. I think we can all agree on that. Join us for a day of disability awareness on August 26th here at the Rawlings Library. and you can explore the world of disabilities with us. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here tonight. Welcome to the 20th volume of Pecha Kucha. My name is Michelle Woods, and part of my mission is spreading a healing vibration for all of our people and all of our planet. One way I do that is through yoga, through teaching yoga. Vitality is a big word for me, and I think even if you don't know it, it's a big word for you. Look at the synonyms here. Who wouldn't want all of these words used to describe you? Spirit, energy, balance, sparkle, passion. So in order to increase our vitality in this moment, we have a little exercise. Everybody please sit up tall, take a big, full, deep breath in, expand, open, sigh it out. We're going to do that one more time. Do it better this time. Bigger, open breath, bring it in. Exhale, sigh out your day. Become very present in this moment. Tonight I want to talk to you about a very important aspect of our physical body, often overlooked and neglected, the feet. Yet when we use them correctly, it brings vitality to our body. So Pada Bandha, the art of the foot lock. So it is a Sanskrit term. It literally means foot lock. It is a yoga technique used to harness the prana, the life force of the body, increase stability and balance, and it will strengthen the arches of the feet and engage the muscles through the lower body. When our foundation is stable, so is the body. If our foundation is weak or faltering, we will see that in the body. There are 26 bones in the foot, and they're all created to work harmoniously together to allow full mobility and flexibility. As we propel ourselves through space, our paths are not always flat and smooth. Our flexible foot is designed to mold well to the surface and remain strong and stable enough to keep our whole bodies balanced over them. When the foot is rigid and unable to flex and curve, an unlevel sidewalk can create a problem. As we age, it is important to maintain agility and mobility. Additionally, our feet are a connection to the earth. When we consciously feel the energy of our feet and the earth below us, we can connect to an energetic level. We can sense more deeply the oneness of our universe. It is also a tool to bring us into this moment so that we may be more mindful and more conscious humans. So, how do you do it? Are we ready to learn? Okay, so first, you guys, if it's possible, kick off your shoes. It's easier to do with a wide foot, unrestricted. And if you don't mind standing, you can also feel better effects of Pada Bandha when you stand. So please stand if you're able. If not, do whatever feels best for you in this moment. We want to lift up our toes. When we lift up the toes, we can feel the arch activate right away. I want you then to spread all the metatarsals out. Make the foot super wide, even the small little toes, space between them. And now I want you to lengthen the foot. Bring those toes to me. Lengthen the foot as much as you can. And then if you want gently, you can let the toes down one at a time, but no pressure in the toes. The pads of the foot are what's important. So you can always lift the toes and feel that activation right away. But find the 5 pads of your foot, push it into the mat, and now I want you to look at your heel. And I want the heel to be well balanced in the mat, equally pushing down. So the 5 pads of the foot and the heel. Now lift up your arch. Do you feel this? Can you feel your Pada Bandha? Soften the toes if you like, but don't dig them into the mat. And so what we're feeling is vitality moving up into the body. It's energy, it's prana, it's life force. And so you can relax your feet if you want now. You can soften them out if you need to rock back and forth a little bit. Let it soften up, go right ahead. Did everybody feel that? Did it feel good? That's life force. Please sit down if you like. Okay, so this is important, extending and opening, planting the heel. This is how we walk. This is how you can engage Pada Bandha more actively, regularly. And I have some slides here coming up that are going to tell you some ways to keep Pada Bandha active. And so by lifting the arch and pressing down on the 5 pads of the foot and the heel, this is how you normally find the engagement. Flexing the foot and sitting in hero's pose and downward facing dog will help you to open the bottom of the foot. Does anybody in here have any issues with their feet, plantar fascia issues? If so, you should adhere just religiously to this exercise. Any balance poses, any standing poses are going to strengthen the bottom of the feet as well. And so one way to make that real is, how about when you're brushing your teeth, stand on one foot. Just every day remember to switch which foot you step on. And that will help strengthen. This is Yoga of the Subtle Body by Tyus Little. Fantastic information. If you're interested in what I'm talking about, have a look at what he's offering. He also wrote the book, or the article, The Importance of the Feet in Yoga, on and off the mat. Because it isn't just on the mat, it's in your regular life. I'm available, people, for private studies, group private lessons, and retreats. Make yoga a part of your next gathering or adventure. Sorry, I can't read this. Make sure, or maybe you want to bring yoga into your workplace, or maybe you just want some good, healthy living fun. When we practice yoga and meditation, we create a strong body and mind capable of dealing with all life offers with grace and good health. Please contact me if you're interested in a customized retreat. As always, my goal is vibrancy and healthy human and planet. Thank you all for your attention. Stay flexible and in the flow.
Good evening. I think I have a foot cramp now, so. My name's Kurt Mattock, and I will be presenting a vision for our organization called Startup Pueblo. I've lived in I can't, okay, there we go. How's that? Okay. I have lived in Pueblo the majority of my life, and each and every year we see great stories about our best and brightest high school and college graduates, how they have been involved in the community, helped people in need, participated in a lot of extracurricular activities, all while earning their diplomas. The sad part of this annual story is the vast majority of these top high school and college graduates take their diplomas, pack up their stuff, and leave town, most of whom will never return. Many of them will stay in state and leave town, and many of them will never, but they'll stay in state but never, just not in Pueblo. The type of jobs and opportunities they are seeking are not available in Pueblo. It's not. Here's the slide with everybody taking off. Oh, yeah, oh, it's on a timer?
It goes for 20 seconds,
Okay.
and it'll advance on its own.
Okay, sorry about that. All right, just doesn't seem to be advancing. All right, our talent pipeline is broken. Companies always cite the available talent as the #1 reason for relocating to certain cities. Pueblo has been building its talent base in the manufacturing and call center areas for many decades. It's just not advancing. We have in fact created a great talent pipeline, but for our cities to the north of us, while we continue to face the annual brain drain here. With the singular focus on this economic development approach, we have created a vicious cycle which has led to many of the economic and social challenges facing our community. We continue to lag behind in all per capita income measures as well as other key social indicators. You may be asking yourself, why change now? The formula has been working pretty well. We see some job announcements every year. We have a lot of new chains to eat at and new places to shop at. It's becoming more important now than in the past because the next big revolution. I'm talking about the next major industrial revolution occurring now, called the digital revolution. This could put millions of people out of work in the next 10 to 20 years. Think driverless cars, robots doing all of our work, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. We are not that far away from machines being much smarter than we are. Okay, enough about the end of the world scenario. We know that small businesses have created all new net jobs in the last 30 years. Startups in the US have created nearly 40 million American jobs, but large businesses are net destroyers of jobs. They do this by mergers and acquisitions and by eliminating duplication of jobs and from productivity gains. I want you to think about how the future of economic development needs to be adapted in order to stop the brain drain. We must rise up to meet the next industrial revolution, to develop an environment to help create the jobs of the future, and to help our small businesses scale up to change the direction of our community. Most cities throughout the US and in Colorado are currently focusing their economic development initiatives on innovation and the jobs of the future. They are doing this by nurturing a startup ecosystem. Here's a map of Colorado. You can see all the major cities have a startup ecosystem in place. Some smaller cities even have a system in place, but Pueblo does not. There is no dedicated space to gather, network, learn, innovate, or connect with other entrepreneurs and inventors. Fort Collins began their startup ecosystem about 15 years ago. Fort Collins was smaller than Pueblo back then. With a small seed investment of just $50,000, they are now creating several hundred jobs each year and average annual wages of those jobs of over $52,000 of each job and tens of millions of dollars of new capital brought into the community. Here are two more examples closer to home. Canyon City just launched a startup hub that already has 20 small companies, many of which are new to the community. Colorado Springs has grown dramatically in the last 15 years, and much of this can be attributed to the startup ecosystem they've developed. Both Colorado Springs and Fort Collins are now regularly listed as some of the best cities to start a new business and are seeing an infusion of entrepreneurs and capital moving to their communities. Here's one more example a little further away, Chattanooga, Tennessee. In 2010, they became the first city in the US to offer 1 gigabit internet service through a public-owned utility. This has led to a renaissance in the city, with hundreds of startups moving there because of the internet access. They have even renamed their city Gig City. Chattanooga went from zero investable capital in 2009 to over $50 million in 2014. It has been the second fastest growing city in Tennessee the last 5 years. It has completely changed the once tarnished image of their city. Pueblo is used to bootstrapping. There are a long list of successful entrepreneurs who have built great businesses here over the years. However, it is much more difficult to do this without any help and access to capital. We can build this startup ecosystem in Pueblo. We can help our entrepreneurs succeed at a much higher rate and create great local jobs and build the talent pipeline for the future. We can send a message to our community, to our entrepreneurs, to the rest of the state and the country that we are open for business. The Pueblo area has all of the natural resources and quality of life factors to grow like all the other major cities in Colorado. 4 years ago, I started the Pueblo Entrepreneurship Competition along with Dr. Wakefield at CSU Pueblo. If you have ever watched Shark Tank on TV, it's Pueblo's version of Shark Tank. We have had some good success stories from those 4 events. We've inspired many people to take their idea and start a business. What's missing is having this dedicated space. I have also started monthly meetup events for entrepreneurs, small businesses, and investors to connect and network until we have our own dedicated space. Here is our vision for our startup ecosystem, which we are calling SoCo Starts. It will be a hub for all entrepreneurial community to create new jobs and develop, retain, and leverage our best and brightest in the coming digital revolution. A unique accelerator 12-week program will be offered twice per year and give special preference to veteran, women, and minorities. The goal is to create 30 to 60 jobs in the first year. There will be access to meeting and co-working space, educational programs, mentors, networking activities, and access to capital. SoCo Starts will be focused on early-stage growth companies in any industry capable of creating wealth and the ability to scale. Revenue will be secured via memberships, program and event fees, community partnerships, and grants. I believe Pueblo has the right ingredients to compete with any city in the state and even the country. All we need is for community members to step up and ask their city and county leaders to provide some seed funding for this project, and this dream can become a reality right here in Pueblo. Thank you.
Russa is celebrating its 100th anniversary this year, and I'm constantly amazed at how few people know who we are and what we do. So this is an overview of the Russa International Club in Pueblo. We have been here 94 years ourselves. Our clubs are broken down into 15 districts within the North American continent, and then these flags represent all of the other countries and foreign possessions where we have clubs. After the Soviet Union fell, we also got clubs into Russia. We have a delegate seat on the UN, and these are some of the projects that we support. Of course, disaster relief, women and families issues. We facilitate foreign adoption, support education, and of course, Doctors and Nurses Without Walls. This lady, Mamie Bass, started Russa in Nashville. A couple years later, the first convention was in Indiana, and then after she passed away, International began to give monetary awards to help us with our service projects. We've had famous women within the organization. You recognize the... Okay. You recognize presidents' wives. We have an actress. There's an electrical engineer, and she invented the electric mixer. In 1923, it was a big deal to have women's service organizations, and of course we got wide coverage in the newspapers, and by 1924 we had enough membership to become chartered. Each year our district has a conference, and we do a lot of networking here. We have speakers, we have officer elections, we have officer training, we share ideas about projects. Here are some of the older projects that we've had. Most of these pictures are from the 50s, and they were in the newspaper. Pictures weren't too readily available at that time, except in the newspaper. Got a long delay here. Okay, here are some of the Pueblo women with pictures in their workplace. We have educators, medical technicians. The woman on the far right at the top was a doctor at the state hospital, and the other lady in the center there. Oh, whoops. This is our biggest project. We fill 100 boxes with useful items and give them to low-income seniors. And this last year we got a grant, and we're going to be able to double this project next year.
What you see here are the members that we have. In the middle picture, we gave a case of paper to all the elementary schools. We've given books to kids in the elementary area. We do Easter baskets for the kids at the Posada homeless shelter. These are our scholarship recipients. We sponsor, the lady on the left gave us an endowment of $50,000, and we're making that stretch. You see the young ladies are our college students. The one in the middle is a GED scholarship that we gave. The picture on the left is back in the 60s, several of the clubs in our area got a certificate from the Goodwill Industries. We sponsored a Christmas tree for Goodwill to auction off. These are just some of the things we're involved in. We volunteer. This shows our international projects. We networked with some women in Haiti after the earthquake. They wanted to start cottage industries. We sent dictionaries to further their education. Like Kathy said, we sponsor Doctors Without Borders. How do we raise this money? We have fundraisers, as all organizations do. We sell poinsettias, we sell Christmas ornaments and trees. We've been at the state hospital bazaar. We've had lasagna dinners. The picture on the right top, we had a fashion show back in the 60s. We sold nuts. We had chances on quilts. Just any kind of variety of different fundraisers. We just finished our spring fling where all the members gathered spring items for the patio and garden, and we raffled them off. We had a meal. It was fun, and we like having fun doing all this work, and that's an important part of Altrusa too, is building camaraderie and enjoying each other. The large middle picture are a picture of our members. We're a small club, but I think we do mighty big things. And we have a variety of occupations. What do you get from Altrusa? You get networking, you get leadership opportunities. Building camaraderie and helping make our community a better community. So we're always looking for new members. We meet twice a month. We have a business meeting. We have a program meeting. It's just fun. So we're always looking for new members. So we have a birthday cake out there for our 100th birthday. So when you're done, you can have a piece of 100th birthday cake.
Good evening. Tonight I'm going to speak with you about the Salt Creek Memory Project, a collaboration between CSU Pueblo, Chicano Studies, University Archives, El Pueblo History Museum, photographer Kelly Cason O'Connor, muralist Sophia Healy, residents and former residents of the Salt Creek community. The project is currently a museum exhibit at El Pueblo History Museum. The project included oral history collection, documentary photographs, and the creation of a mural. For those of you who don't know where Salt Creek is, the community lies east of Pueblo city limits, but is still in Pueblo County. People from and familiar with the community of Salt Creek speak fondly of this community. As project collaborators, we met and interviewed residents and former residents of Salt Creek. We found a rich history that remembered everything, gathering places like the Salt Creek Rec Center, grocery stores, and the Ojito. This map shows you where Salt Creek is in relation to the CF&I steel mill that brought tens of thousands of people to southern Colorado and at one time was owned by the Rockefeller family. Because of Salt Creek's proximity to the old CF&I, there has been concern the land and water there may have been contaminated by the water the steel mill used to cool the hot steel. This project began in 2014 when I worked with my student Jose Ortega on a summer undergraduate research project. Jose worked in the University Archives at CSU, During this time, the archives acquired the Louis Lux Garcia papers. Ortega's project was to research the life of Garcia and give presentations, one at CSU Pueblo and the other in the Salt Creek community. During the project, Ortega had the opportunity to interview Lux's wife and daughter and discovered a great deal about Garcia's community activism. When Jose presented at the university, over 75 people attended. At his Salt Creek presentation, over 50 community members came. After his presentation, a number of community members expressed their interest in continuing to have dialogue about their life in Salt Creek. After the memory workshop, El Pueblo History Museum's executive director, Don DePrince, wrote a grant proposal to collect oral histories, have documentary-style photos taken, and created a mural. In March of 2016, Jose and I held community meetings scheduled every 2 weeks at the Pueblo History Museum and the Salt Creek Rec Center. Meetings included talking about the history of the region and physical places that should be included in the mural. At meetings, participants brought images to show how they remembered Salt Creek. Participants discussed close proximity to the steel mill, the bright colors, and the feel of the heat coming off the slag when it was dumped. Participants discussed the central role of the rec center as a gathering place for birthday parties, quinceañeras, and graduations. This individual is Angelina Gomez. She recalled, "We went to Danforth School. We took the bus. Danforth only went up to the 4th grade. We had to cross after that we went to Edison School. We walked and had to cross 2 bridges. We had to cross the black water and the stinky water, we called it. It was loaded with chemicals. The white water was a really heavy flow of water. When you're young, you don't think about the hazards that are around you." This is Max Lopez. He remembered his social life in Salt Creek. The hangout used to be right there in front of De Leon's store. There was a dancing hall. It was right here by the store, Acapulco. That's where we used to come and dance. We used to go to the rec there. We played basketball, and the guys from up the hill always wanted to beat us up. I didn't know why. We never knew why. This is Margaret Dixie Gomez Santos. She said, "I heard comments as I was growing up that there were stupid people in Salt Creek. There were very smart people in Salt Creek. They were very politically minded. They were well-versed. They were well-vested. My grandpa was also making things for us to do. They would always care about people that were around us. We would hang out at our grandmother's house and spend time throwing rocks into the ditch." This is Jovita Chavez, or Jova. For fun, we played hide and seek, kick the can. I used to swim in the ditch. I was punished for it because my dad didn't want us girls swimming in the ditch. We would get punished for going in the ditch. I was a tomboy. I didn't do a lot of stuff that the girls were doing. I used to go with my brother to the Branks. They were across the ditch and they were deep holes. We would try to reach the bottom. This is Art Luna. When I went out for football, I only weighed 112 pounds, and the other guys were seniors and juniors and sophomores, and they weighed 160, 180 pounds. They used to let the freshmen practice with the seniors. We were practicing this guy sent me out for a pass. I got the pass and I was running down the field, and here comes the 185-pound guy, and he hits me. I mean, he blasts me, sent me back about 10 yards. After the oral interviews and the photographs were completed, in May of 2006, muralist Sophie Healy began working on the mural. She listened to hours of interviews and the stories of La Llorona, the one cursed to roam the water after drowning her children, memories of homes and outdoor ovens or hornos that were made out of adobe bricks, were images or stories that she collected. This is Sophia actually working on the mural. She used sheet metal that was drilled into the wall at El Pueblo History Museum, and then she painted it with primer. She first drew the mural out by hand. I had a chance to see it on a number of occasions, and I was always impressed with just how beautiful her sketching was. As I gazed upon it, I kept thinking about all the people we had interviewed and the idea that the mural had brought these stories to life in a colorful and vibrant manner. But I was not prepared for the final version of the project. On the day I came to visit the completed mural, I stood in awe at Sophia's ability to capture not just the oral histories, but what life continues to be like in Salt Creek today. The vivid colors, the blues, and the oranges stand out to the viewer. Even the browns, oh, that went really fast. Even the browns were beautiful. I think there's a couple of slides missing. It's really a good picture. The browns are beautiful. The brown of the rich earth for planting and the brown of the adobes that families had worked so hard to build their homes with. On opening night, the community completed mural and the images of the interviewees hung on the walls at El Pueblo Museum. The exhibit displayed Kelly Cason O'Connor and Sophia Healy's ability to capture the personalities and the feelings of those that were interviewed. Kelly asked each interviewee to choose the location that they wanted to be photographed at. She drove with them to their chosen locations and spoke with them about their lives and what Salt Creek had meant to them. On opening night, there were only over 300 people that were in attendance. They ended up filling the exhibit hall at El Pueblo History Museum. For me, I was thrilled with the opportunity to see the process from start to finish, from the words on the page, from the workshops, the historical images, and the mural adding vibrancy to a location that some in our community have never known, a place where others have seen as long dead, but for our interviewees and others, a place that has lived on in their minds and in their hearts. The Salt Creek project, which started for me in a batch of documents at CSU Pueblo University Archives, has taken on a new meaning. It is more than just about words on a page or the details that as historian I can get stuck in. Salt Creek has come back to life. We had help facilitating remembering. People like Cecilia Diaz-Maravilla had the opportunity to share the stories of her past. They had returned to a familiar place, and we helped people to feel history in its physical spaces. The exhibit runs until the beginning of July of 2017. The oral histories are available on SoundCloud under El Pueblo History Museum Salt Creek Memory Project, and the images with links to the interviews are on kellykasonoconnor.com. The mural will be housed in Salt Creek. The community members have expressed a desire for the mural to be at the Salt Creek Rec Center, where it is finally moved from El Pueblo Museum.
This presentation on Medicare for All is sponsored by the Southeastern Chapter of Healthcare for All Colorado. Healthcare for All Colorado believes that everyone should have access to quality, affordable health care. Medicare for All. I'll explain why we need it, what it is, how we get it. We also believe that health care is a human right, a social service provided according to medical need, not a commodity to be used to make profit, sold only to those who can afford it. And here are some reasons we need Medicare for All. The U.S. is the only developed nation that doesn't have universal health care. In 2016, over 30 million Americans were uninsured, many were underinsured. 45,000 people die every year from lack of coverage. This study compared 11 industrialized nations. All but the U.S. have universal health care. U.S. ranks 11th overall, last, 11th on, and last on these other measures, 5th on measures of quality, number 1 on health care expenditures per capita. This chart shows that U.S. public spending per capita for health care exceeds total spending in other nations. The public spending includes money on Medicare, Medicaid, but also covering government employees and subsidies to purchase private insurance. And even though we spend more, our outcomes are third rate. Here's infant mortality. We're higher than these other nations. Here, life expectancy, shorter than these other nations. All these other nations have universal health care. What about bankruptcies? Here's a comparison between Canada, which has single-payer universal health care, and the U.S. The U.S. or Canada has 0 bankruptcies. The U.S. has 2 million per year. And most of the medically bankrupt had insurance, so they weren't being irresponsible. 78% had some type of insurance. 60 had private insurance. 18% had Medicare, Medicaid, or the VA. And here's another reason that we need health, Medicare for All. We waste 1/3 of our healthcare dollar. And the waste is marketing, billing, and profits. In contrast, Medicare administrative costs are less than 5% of total Medicare spending. This growth, or this chart shows the growth of physicians and administrators between 1970 and 2013. A dramatic difference, as you can see. The administrators for insurance companies had the primary task of finding ways to deny claims submitted by providers. This cartoon makes a very important point about why we need Medicare for All. Insurance companies interfere in the doctor-patient relationship, and their primary goal is profit, not quality health care. And here's how some of that profit is spent. A chart shows total compensation paid the CEOs of 6 health insurance companies in 2016. Note that the median income for a typical worker was $42,000 a year. These guys make that much in a day or two. What about the Affordable Care Act? Has pros and cons. Pros include coverage of pre-existing conditions. Cons, no controls on premiums, deductibles, or co-pays, and about 30 million people were left uninsured. The ACA is under repeal and replacement. It should be replaced by HR 676, expanded and improved Medicare for All. Medicare for All will create a healthcare system with single-payer financing and universal coverage of necessary health services. This is how single-payer would work. A trust fund would handle all the financing, free choice of provider and hospital. Providers remain in private or group practice. Patients and providers make all the medical decisions. All necessary medical services covered, no co-pays or deductibles. And this is a list of the services that would be covered. And importantly, no co-pays or deductibles, and insurance companies would no longer dictate healthcare decisions. HR 676 would cover everyone and spend less. The left-hand bar represents new costs like adding the uninsured. The right-hand bar, new savings like eliminating the waste, a net savings of $243 billion a year. Single-payer Medicare for All expands Medicare by including everybody, rolling up other programs, improves Medicare by comprehensive benefits, no barriers, getting rid of financial supplemental programs. This is an important point. Single-payer lowers healthcare costs for most, cut off the waste, funded through progressive income and wealth taxes. 95% of Americans would spend less for their health care than they do now. And here's what you can do to help us get there. Join Healthcare for All Colorado. Tell your representative to sign on to HR 676. Learn more about single payer at pnhp.org and tell your friends. Thank you.
All right, hi everyone. My name is Cherie Caffey, and I work at CSU Extension in Pueblo County. Can I just see a quick show of hands who has heard of CSU Extension? Awesome, that is more than usual. So we offer a lot of really great services, and a lot of people don't really know about us. A lot of you do, which is awesome. But I'm excited to tell you about some of the ways that we can help you, particularly in the horticulture program. So for those of you who don't know, CSU Extension is not CSU Pueblo. We're completely separate. We are a satellite office of CSU Fort Collins, actually. So basically what our goal is to take the information that they figure out from their research at Fort Collins and deliver it to your front door. And we have a couple different topic areas that we have programs in. Here they are. Ag and Natural Resources is one of them. He does, farming and livestock kind of stuff. 4-H is a youth program you've probably heard of. It's been around for hundreds of years. We have a nutrition education program. And Family and Consumer Sciences, she does everything from canning, cooking, diseases, healthy living, parenting. She kind of covers a lot of different things. And like I said, I do the horticulture program. So I do a lot of things. I give public talks like this. I do private talks for a lot of neighborhood groups, schools, nursing homes, whoever wants me, really. I answer a lot of calls about gardening, a lot of emails about gardening, pretty much anything that you can think of to do with gardening and landscaping, I will do it. One of the biggest parts of my job, probably about 50% of my time, is spent coordinating the Colorado Master Gardener program. So I have 40 volunteers who have all been through a 10-week training. They learn all about gardening, and then they go out and educate the public with the knowledge that they have gained. So they kind of extend my reach into the community. They'll do classes as well. This is all from Master Gardener training. They absolutely love to go out and work in the community. One of the favorite community projects of ours is the Seed Library, the All Pueblo Grows Seed Library, which is here actually on the second floor. I'm glad we have some fans. It's a really cool project. They sponsor a bus trip. Last year they went to the Denver Botanic Gardens. We were at all the community events, Chili Festival, Home and Garden Show. They love to work with kids. This is some of the stuff we've done recently. Last year we planted some trees for Arbor Day with the Cub Scouts. You can see it was snowing like crazy, but we were still out there. We do Science Day every year at Fountain International Magnet School. All the kids come, we teach them about plants. And then Children's Water Festival has every 5th grader in town. We teach them about water. This is another volunteer program that I coordinate, the Native Plant Master Program. So it's really similar to the Master Gardener Program, but they focus specifically on teaching people about native plants and non-native plants. We actually do a lot of like weed education through Native Plant Masters. This is a picture of our wildflower walk last year. It was super fun. We had over 40 people and they loved it. The Master Gardeners have recently created their own nonprofit group called Shed. They get money through fundraisers, so they have an annual plant sale and then a gardening book sale. That's how they raise their money, and then the Master Gardeners can use that money to fund their educational horticulture projects. And anybody, can apply for funding from Shed to do a horticulture education project. I think the Master Gardener Helpline is probably one of the most useful things to the community that we do. Every Tuesday and Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., you can call into the helpline and get your gardening questions answered. So it could be that you're having a problem with one of your plants, or you have an insect on one of your plants, you want to know what it is, or you just don't know how to do something, you don't know how to make your raised bed, you can call in. This is also a super helpful tool, the Lisa Kit, Lawn Irrigation Self-Audit. You can check this out for free from the Extension Office. It has everything you need to collect some data from your sprinkler system. You plug your results into this website, and you will get a customized lawn watering schedule for your sprinkler system. So it really helps you to be more efficient with the water that you're using. Here's a couple other things you can come and get from the Extension Office. We have soil test kits. So those are really important if you want to know what's going on with your soil. They're free. You can come pick them up. You'll actually send them up to Fort Collins to get tested. You don't test them here in Pueblo. We also will lend out our hoop bender for free. People sometimes want to make these low tunnel hoop houses, maybe over your raised bed or something, and the hoop bender is kind of pricey, but you can just check it out for us for free. The Western Landscape Symposium is another annual event that we do in March. We get all the greatest speakers in horticulture. They come and do a full day of learning. We have education tables, vendor tables. The Master Gardener book sale is there. It's at PCC. It's a really fun day, so check that out next year once it comes up, usually like late March. This is our second year. I'm really excited about this one, of the County Fair Community Open Class Horticulture Competition. If you guys are growing any fruits or vegetables or herbs, this is an amateur competition. You should definitely enter it in the county fair. We have categories for all the vegetables, fruits, and herbs. We also have fun categories like biggest bug, prettiest bug. So enter your stuff in county fair. We do a couple publications that are really educational and fun. From the Ground Up is our quarterly newsletter. You can subscribe to it in print or digitally, and it has a bunch of fun articles from the Master Gardeners and Native Plant Masters. I write a monthly column in the Chieftain in the Life section on Sundays. I try to keep it pretty pertinent to what's going on in Pueblo at the time as far as gardening goes, and I also contribute to the Cohorts blog. I do some programming with Family and Consumer Sciences if that's your interest. Last year, in conjunction with the Seed Library actually, we did Preserving the Harvest, where we talked about growing tomatoes and then we canned some and everybody took a jar home. This year we're trying an herbs class. You'll learn about growing, using, and preserving herbs and take home your own mini herb garden. So that's coming up in this June, I think June 25th. I work with 4-H on this really cool project called Ag Fest. So this is kind of for the city kids who aren't in 4-H. They come for a full day at the state fairgrounds and learn about how agriculture affects their daily lives. So we do things, pollination, fruits and vegetables, wind, forestry, dairy, beef cattle, water usage, all of that stuff. Maybe agriculture and natural resources is more your thing. We do some of those kind of classes too. Last year we had the Plants of Pueblo County Rangeland Tour. So we talked a little bit on a certain property about the range stuff, and then we also talked about the plants we were seeing there. And we also do a seedling tree sale in conjunction with the Forest Service. So if you have a large acreage and you need a bunch of trees, that's a good way to get them at a pretty good price. Here's a couple of our programs coming up. We always have new ones, but these are just the next ones. I have an expert in hydroponics coming down on June 26th to teach you how to set up a hydroponic system in your home. You can grow your own food hydroponically. We also have the Pollination Maker Workshop Series. It's family friendly. You're going to learn about a pollinator and then make a habitat to take home. And we encourage the kids to come to that one. So if I've said anything that you'd like to learn more about, you'd like to learn more about our programs in general, we are located downtown, 701 Court Street, right above the DA's office. You can call us anytime to ask questions. That's our website. And please like us on Facebook at Pueblo County Horticulture. We'll post all of our events and also just some fun stuff about gardening as well.